Kwik Trip, that's fun to say. I like saying that better than QT. It's one of the biggest and fastest growing convenience store chains in the United States. I have been covering different convenience store chains on this channel lately, and I want to thank all the people who left comments requesting that I make this video because it helped bring a great topic to my attention. Not to be confused with Quick Stop from the movie Clerks, this one is headquartered in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and has impressively been succeeding in new markets all over the country, often competing directly with local favorites. Some of the ones that stand out to me would be in 1988, they started opening stores in Atlanta, where competing convenience store chain Racetrack is headquartered, and it has since become one of their biggest markets. In 1999, they made a big push into the Dallas-Fort Worth area, where 7-Eleven is headquartered, and that has since become one of their biggest markets. In total, QuikTrip can be found in 17 states, many of which have been added recently. In just the past few years, they have entered Alabama, Arkansas, Colorado, Louisiana, Tennessee, and the Chicagoland area, opening stores at a faster rate than ever before, reaching 1,000 of them in 2023 with no signs of slowing down. They've even started building bigger ones in higher traffic areas called remote travel centers. All of this leads me to believe that QuikTrip may soon be expanding near you. The only questionable region would be some of the northern states, specifically around Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Michigan, because believe it or not, they are mostly dominated by a completely separate chain, also called QuikTrip. I know, it is almost ridiculous. The two are spelled differently, neither of which is correct, which is a bit annoying to me, to be completely honest. The QuikTrip spelled with a Q, the one that I've been talking about, predates the other one by 7 years, but as far as I could find, there's no evidence to suggest that the name was copied, but it does complicate things. In 1974, QuikTrip with a Q opened their first stores in Iowa, so then about 2 decades later, when QuikTrip with a K opened their first stores in Iowa, they used the name Quick Star instead to avoid confusion. So if QuikTrip with a Q were to enter those northern states where there's already QuikTrip with a K, there would be some obvious naming issues, which I have to speculate is a big reason that they haven't tried to do it yet. Alright, it's already getting confusing here. Enough with the QuikTrip with a K for right now. Let me know if I should make a separate video about them later, but for today, I'm focusing on QuikTrip with a Q. It is the bigger one that has been expanding much more aggressively. So in this video, I want to talk about the history of this company while listing what I believe to be 5 of the main reasons behind their success so far that lead me to believe that they may be successful in expanding even further, potentially near you. Starting off my list with the Keju family. QuikTrip was started in 1958 by Bert Holmes and Chester Keju. It was Bert's idea. He had taken a trip to Dallas, probably a quick one. It was to see a football game, and while he was there, he took notice of the 7-Eleven stores all around the area and figured that a similar concept would do well in his hometown of Tulsa, Oklahoma. So when he arrived back home, he found some investors, one of them being Chester Keju. They had gone to junior high school together and happened to run into each other, so Keju borrowed $5,000 from his father. Bert Holmes matched it with his own $5,000, along with $2,000 each from 3 other investors, and they used the $16,000 to open the first ever QuikTrip. In addition to being an initial investor, Chester Keju became the company's first full-time employee, having been fired from his old job when they learned that he was starting the business, and the company's first president. He was only 26 years old at the time, so he was able to hold that position until 2002. He was the one who had led the company through the opening of its first 400 stores, and at that point, he was replaced by his son, Chet Keju, who had already worked with the company extensively in various roles and is still serving as president today. That is pretty crazy, to have only 2 different leaders over the course of more than 65 years. To this day, none of the locations are franchised, and the family still privately owns most of the company. And at $20 billion in annual sales, Forbes ranks it as the 17th largest private company in the country. Obviously, there is pride and care and tradition put into running a family-owned company like this, and considering members of the Keju family have maintained control of every core decision since the company started, I think it's safe to say that they are a major contributor to QuikTrip's past success and potential moving going forward. For the next reason on my list, I'm going to be a little more broad and simply say food. Today, Kwik Trip is widely known for being a gas station, but in the beginning, it only sold food. It was like a small grocery store that would carry basic items at a higher price that people would be willing to pay because of the proximity and the convenience. Like the name of it implies, it was like a place you can go to take a quick trip to get something. I think it's interesting that only 8 days after opening that first location, the road it was on was coincidentally shut down for construction for the next 2 months. Without vehicles being allowed to drive in that area, it became a very inconvenient store to buy groceries. Most of their sales were coming from construction workers that were working on the job, but they stuck with it. They said they never had plans of giving up, despite the fact that they weren't profitable until a few years in when they opened their 4th location. By the 1970s, when Kwik Trip was doing better, they started selling gasoline, quickly raising their customer traffic by about 10%, and to capitalize on all the new people passing through to buy gas, they started focusing on more common, lower margin items like candy and cigarettes. They even started their own private label beer called Quittin' Time, QT for short, that was later followed by all sorts of private label food items. They were among the first to install a self-service soda fountain, and in 2013, they started adding QT kitchens to almost all of the stores. They are somewhat impressive. I'm talking about full-service counters that serve all sorts of made-to-order food, including pizzas, sandwiches, pretzels, pastries, and a milkshake that they call a Quick Shake. The QT kitchens have proved to be popular, and if any of this looks appetizing, I will remind you to keep an eye out because Kwik Trip may be making its way into your area sometime soon, if it hasn't already. Going back to the list, I'm realizing that it wouldn't be complete if I talked about their food without talking about their gasoline. As I said, they didn't start selling it until 1971, but from there it became an increasingly important part of their business. By the 1990s, it contributed to half of their sales. In 1991, Kwik Trip started guaranteeing the gasoline they sold, meaning if something bad happens to your car because of it, they promise to pay for the repairs. And they promote that in kind of a passive-aggressive way. They say, it's that simple. You can buy your fuel from Kwik Trip with complete confidence, or you can take your chances somewhere else. By 2008, they claimed to be responsible for 1.7% of all of the gasoline sold in the US, and today, their gasoline, along with that guarantee, might very well be the thing that they are most known for. In 2016, they opened a store in Atlanta without a gas station attached for the first time in 24 years. In 2022, they did it again in Tulsa using Amazon's Just Walk Out technology where the customer doesn't have to check out. But aside from those two, I believe every other one of their 1,000 plus locations has a gas station attached. Another reason behind the success and potential of Kwik Trip is the employees. Because going all the way back to the early days, Kwik Trip has always placed a huge emphasis on their employees. They were paying their store managers much more than the industry standard, with the belief that they would make their money back through the efficiency they provide and the environment that they create for the associates that, of course, translates to the customers. Today, Kwik Trip employs over 28,000 people, many of which were hired over the past decade to operate those QT kitchens, and they are known for providing competitive pay and benefits like medical insurance, 401k matches, tuition reimbursements, and a stock ownership plan. They say that that plan has helped make many of their employees millionaires due to the raising value of the company. If you want to own a portion of this company, you either have to be part of that plan or part of that family. It's hard to measure something like this objectively, so please leave a comment about your experience if you have ever worked there personally. The best I can do right here is to point out the fact that Kwik Trip was included on Fortune's list of the 100 best companies to work for 15 years straight. My final reason behind Kwik Trip's potential is a little more abstract, but a positive reputation. There are just a handful of companies out there that almost everybody seems to like, right? And I'm gonna go ahead and say that Kwik Trip is one of them. Please tell me if you disagree, but every comment that I've seen about them on this channel so far has spoken highly of it. In 2024, Forbes put out a list of customer experience all-stars based on the results of an online survey that asked 175,000 people about 3,100 unique brands, and Kwik Trip ranked number 18 on that list. I would argue that a positive reputation is probably one of the most valuable assets imaginable when entering a new area. Hearing about it from a friend or seeing it in the media somewhere, things like me making this video, helps make people interested before it ever even gets there. And their reputation is built over many years through numerous different factors, like the stuff that I already talked about on my list. But just a few other reasons people like Kwik Trip would be the fact that they are open for 24 hours a day. They started doing that before most others in the 1970s and have continued doing it ever since. It's reliable. The fact that the the stores are typically newer and vibrant factors into it, with the signature red and white coloring and that QT logo. They have reinvested a lot of money renovating and remodeling over the years to ensure that things do not become outdated. Also, the fact that they donate 5% of net profits to charitable organizations within the communities that they operate, something like that will make people wish that they had a Kwik Trip nearby to help benefit their community. Overall, Kwik Trip has a positive image, and that makes it more likely that they will succeed when entering new areas. I want to point out that there are a few different convenience store chains that have been aggressively pursuing new markets lately, growing faster than ever before, with plenty of reason to believe that they will all be successful. It might take some time, but the direction of the country seems to be moving toward more national chains that everybody knows and fewer regional favorites. Things are getting more competitive, so potentially some mergers or public stock offerings somewhere along the line. I don't know. I'm just saying that 5 of the 30 biggest private companies in the US are regional convenience store chains. All of them comparable in size and mostly looking to grow, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about Kwik Trip? If you have been there before, how do you like the QT kitchen and everything else they have to offer? Does it live up to its reputation, or is it overhyped? And if you haven't been there before, did this video make you want to check them out? I mean, it's probably worth going there at least once to see what it's all about. Also, what do you see for the future of the company and the rest of the industry? And any other thoughts you have about Kwik Trip, leave them in the comments. I'd like to hear what you have to say. Thank you for watching.